What is up, players? It's WarbossTae back up in this mug for my day 23 update for my WarbossTae 2016 painting challenge. I'm showing you some work here, my highlighted finished models for the Masons Guild, for the Guild Ball commission that I'm working on, and I have got to say, this is coming out really, really great. Once I start getting into the highlighting and the details, that really kind of motivates and inspires, kind of amps me up, because that's when I really get to, I think, have that creative flourish. Like when you're first painting on base coats, sometimes they go on really flat because there's no texture to them, there's no depth. And then you do the shades, and sometimes that helps to, pick up your spirits. But a lot of times when you're looking at a shaded model, you might think like, well, there's the shadows. I guess that's good. But it's when you get into the highlighting and you create that range of depth from the shadows, the dark shadows, to the bright picked out areas. Like if you look at the hammer there, the skin tones have really been very fun to work with on his face, on his fingers. This guy's name is Mallet, I believe, for the Masons Guild. And the reds contrasting with the browns and the white cloth, I'm really happy. And it makes me so motivated to continue working on this commission and knock it all out. The colors that I'm using, if you'd like to replicate my color scheme, are Rhinox Hide for the trousers and Corn Red for any red. The whites are first painted on with Celestra Gray and shaded with a mixture of known oil. Well, first I do known oil just to make those shadows, and then known oil is actually what I shade everything except for the skin with. And then I do a second selective application of Thunderhawk Blue, really watered down to create some cool blues in the shadows. The skin is done with a couple of Vallejo colors. I think it was beige red, and then I think it's medium skin tone or flesh tone, and then I think it's light flesh tone. And it's not just those straight colors painted right on, but actually mixed together, and that's where you create those cool transitions. And I'm really happy with how the skin turned out. The whites have been painted back up using Celestra Gray and then mixing in Vallejo's, I think, gray white or white gray, one of those two. And then the final highlight is Off-White, which is just the next step down from Pure White by Vallejo. And Off-White, I found, is a great top highlight because it's not so bright and clean and just unbelievably white that it would stick out, because no white color should really be that white unless it's a magical elf race or a inhuman race. I think humans, especially human fantasy football players like this guy here, their uniform, even if it's bright and clean, is going to have a little bit of that off-white color to it. The pants have been re-highlighted with Rhinox Brown, or Rhinox Hide, I'm sorry, and then you add a little bit of Steel Legion Drab to that Rhinox Hide, and it creates some really nice highlights for the pants. And the reds have been highlighted up with Corn Red over the shaded base coat, so you're just bringing up that base color of Corn Red, and then highlighting with Mephiston Red and adding in some Wild Rider Red. I guess that's it. Lead Belcher, Known Oil, and then Runefang Steel for the silver. And that's about it. This guy usually has black hair, but I'm doing him as a blonde just because I think that pop of color is really good. Here's Hammer, the guy that I mentioned in my previous video. How I did his skin is actually from, I think, Dice Miniature Paint Guy a couple months back posted up how do you do dark skin on, like, a little picture tutorial on the Google group, and I basically just took that one. I had my own, but I thought, you know what, Dice Miniature Paint Guy, you put this tutorial up, so I'm gonna do it just like how Games Workshop does theirs and how you shared it, and I'm gonna see how successful I am. And I think I was very successful with the skin color for Hammer here. It's basically Rhinox Hide, shaded with Known Oil, painted back up with Rhinox Hide, and then highlighted with Doombull Brown, which is more of a reddish brown. And it's a really great great highlight color. I never would have thought of using that. I might have gone with Steel Legion Drab or Mournfang Brown, but I guess that just goes to show you that, there's so many options out there for how you can do it. The whites were painted just like how I mentioned in Mallet's section a couple pictures ago. Those lighter browns is just Steel Legion Drab shaded with Agrax Earthshade and Known Oil, and then brought back up with Steel Legion Drab. It's light enough that you can do some really good highlighting with it and still have some good depth with the shadows. You notice the hammer there has a little bit of a cloth binding on it. I wanted to do a different color brown to the belts, the buckles, and all of his straps that he's got on his body. So I went with a Mournfang Brown base, and then when you shade that with Agrax Earthshade and Known Oil, and you highlight the edges with, I think it's XV88, it creates a very nice looking leather. Different from the straps, it's a little bit more of a reddish yellowish brown than kind of like that flat milk chocolate brown for his straps on his body, but I think it looks great. Final thing I want to mention is the armor, of course, is Jokero Orange, shaded with Known Oil, and then brought back up with Jokero Orange, and then using Troll Slayer Orange and Fire Dragon Bright. And at the very end, after I do all of that, the last highlight, which is this, which is what makes this a War Master level commission job, is I added in some Aerial Yellow. And you don't want the armor to look yellow, you need it to be orange. Especially, we're going for the 90s uniform of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's kind of like it's not a bright Halloween orange, it's more of like a flat orangish mustard yellow kind of orange. But it's a very interesting color. It's a very tricky one to nail. I think when you add in a little bit of that yellow and use it on the extreme highlights, you get a perfect kind of copy of what you want. So I am so happy with this guy, you guys, and I'm really pleased with how the armor came out. Oh, if you're wondering how I did the designs, the designs are already molded onto the figure. All you have to do is make sure you do not use a lot of paint, because you don't want your paint to dry and fill in that detail. And a little tip, a little trick that I use is once I did my shading, once I shaded the whole thing with Known Oil and started highlighting, if I got that highlight color into those cracks, just take a little bit of Known Oil and reline the design. You don't want to shade everything around it because you're only trying to get that depth of the sculpted design in there. But I mean, it's just so cool that these models have this kind of loopy, wavy, swirly designs on them anyways. He kind of looks like Mike Tyson. Look at that face. That's, oh my gosh, I'm looking at it right now. This guy looks like Mike Tyson. Okay, let's answer the daily question while we take a look at our last guy here. I just wanted to take this picture because I love how the white uniform is kind of coming together. He still needs some work on the reds and his skin and his hair, but I'm pretty much done with the white uniform. It just looks so cool. Okay, what game do you wish took off in your area? And this is a tricky one because there are so many different kinds of games out there, but a war game that I really dig, that I started making videos for, actually was All Quiet on the Martian Front. It is such a cool game. The aesthetic of the kind of World War I 6mm, I think it's, no, 15mm, they're not that small, 15mm dudes on their bikes or their infantry, and all of the alien guys, and just, it looks like such a cool game, and I wish that it would pick up steam and that they could do more with it. I'll put a link to the webpage for it because it's so cool. Anyways, thanks for watching, you guys. Here's a little picture of it. I hope you enjoyed my day 23 video. I was also going to go with the Warhammer 40K and Warhammer Fantasy role-playing games because they're so good. There's just too many to talk about, though. Like, I really wish Only War would take off, the Imperial Guard role-playing game. I really wish that they had done more with Warhammer Fantasy roleplay before they scrapped the universe, but oh well. I'm going to choose All Quiet on the Martian Front for this one just because I think it's so different and it's its own new unique property, and I can't wait to hear what you guys said. So we'll see you in the next one. Follow me on Google Group and YouTube and My Wargaming Life. All the details below as always, and we'll see you in the next video. Hey guys, so yeah, apparently I just did some research because I wanted to link the company Alien Dungeon in the description, and I found out that they actually closed up shop. They do not exist anymore. So I guess there's no way to get these unless you actually know somebody who has them or they sell them at your game store, which is a bummer. Because, I mean, look at these models, they look so cool, and you combine this World War I, like trench warfare style aesthetic with the War of the Worlds, giant walkers, aliens, kind of walkers, and I think it's such a cool aesthetic that it's such a bummer. The company Alien Dungeon, apparently they started this game through Kickstarter. I didn't realize that, and I read an article that said that they were looking for $50,000 to kickstart their game, and they blew it away. They actually got $300,000 in pledges, and Rick Priestley, the venerable game designer himself, designed the rules, and like I said, like these miniatures look just so great. But apparently the business was I guess the company wasn't able to stay in business, and they had a lot of, I guess, stretch goals and things that they were trying to get done they couldn't, and so a lot of the pledges had to get gift certificates for their online store, as a kind of like, sorry, we didn't get you your stuff yet. And then I guess they closed their doors like at the beginning of the year, back in January, which is a bummer, but I guess that's what happens. Too bad.